Welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United as we talk about Ralf Rangnick's job hint. We'll also be talking a little bit about a big game tomorrow against Atletico Madrid and what has become a little bit of a, we're sponsored by Boohoo Man, and I think really La Liga fans should be sponsored by Boohoo Man because they're proper crying this evening. We'll talk about that in a bit. We've also got thanks everyone who voted on the community tab for all the polls. We'll be going through all those things that we saw from the Athletic this morning, which felt a bit weird. We've run those polls with our community and we've got very different results. So we'll be talking about that as well. But first of all, I want to talk about Ralf Rangnick and his desire to get the Man United job. And can he get it? So we'll be talking about that. But before we do that, as I said, we are sponsored by Boohoo Man on the show today. Very big thank you to them. And they've got something interactive for you as well. Boohoo Man Active want to make their customers feel empowered when they wear their clothes, giving them that feeling that they can grasp any shot that they get. As my pal Eminem says, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? So this week, in a very loosely connected way, we are looking at which Manchester United player has taken the most shots in the Premier League this season. So you can guess which 4 players have taken the most shots this Premier League season. So get in the chat. Which 4 Manchester United players have taken the most shots? Not scored the most, not hit the target the most. Which 4 players do you think have hit the target the most? Which 4 Man United players have taken the most shots at goal this season? Now, I would say off the top of my head, Ronaldo, Bruno, Cavani, and Rashford. That would be my 4. Okay. So, I can tell you that... I've got 2 right. So, in 4th place, it's Scott McTominay, which I never would have gone with. He's had 37 shots and he's got 3 goals. I mean, I'm surprised by that one. In 3rd place, Paul Pogba with 41 shots and 1 goal. I'm very surprised with that because Pogba's hardly played this season, so that I don't know about that. 2nd place, Bruno Fernandes with 83 shots. I see what's happening here. Basically, the first 2 have had loads of shots and no one else has. 2nd place, Bruno Fernandes with 83 shots and 10 goals. And in 1st place, it's Cristiano Ronaldo with 129 shots. There we go. If you want to make sure you take all the shots you are given, then Boohoo Man Active has you covered. When you use the code United Stands, you will get your usual 40% off. However, you'll get an additional 10% off after the discount's been appointed. This extra 10% off applies to everything on the site except for certain sale items. All you got to do is hit the link in the description and use the code United Stand to get the great discount from Boohoo Man. And a big shout out to Boohoo Man. They always bring something interactive for the chat and related to what we're talking about, which is Manchester United. So big thank you to Boohoo Man. Obviously, I'm wearing some of their clobber here. You can get yours whether you're down the gym, running around, or just chilling in your house watching football. Boohoo Man Active range, link in the chat, 40% off. You can pick up quite a few good items for a very reasonable price. Anyway, look, let's get on with the show. Thanks to Boohoo Man. First thing I'm going to talk about is Ralf Rangnick. I do want to talk about the polls. I think they're very interesting. There was an article that came out this morning from The Athletic that said that 50% of United fans would like to see Ronaldo go next season. Well, we've done a poll and we've got a very different answer. They also had a poll that said over 50% thought Bruno was the most important player for United. Well, we've done a poll and we've got a different answer. There was also apparently more people wanted Maguire to be captain than Ronaldo. Well, we did a poll and we got a different answer. So we'll go through that in a moment. But first of all, we're going to talk about Ralf Rangnick and his job hint, which is not so much a job hint, but a fact. I think this gets lost in the whole Ten Hag thing and the Poch thing, and maybe people will think about another manager thing. But he said it publicly twice, and he still does want the job. This is Ralf Rangnick's dream job. He wants the Manchester United job. And before we talk about whether he should get the job or not, he wants the job, and he's got the job at the moment as an interim. How does Ralf Rangnick hold on to that job? And is he dropping hints that he's got a plan and that he still wants it? Well, of course he's got a plan and of course he still wants it. And we'll talk about that. But first of all, I do think it's been forgotten that everybody's like, well, Rangnick's done a decent job. We hope he can go upstairs and, be involved in big decisions. But I think it's sort of been forgotten that Ralf Rangnick wants the job. And I think with regards to that, then do you want him to have the job? Does he want the job? Yes, he does. And how does he get that job? Well, look, the very clear hints for me again were today that he said, I don't want to talk about the summer. I'm focused on the next 12 games and I'm focused on the Champions League. Oh, my shithouse wanker bastard. When's the shirt coming out, Mark? We need it, says Oz. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised about that and how that's sort of gone into quite a big thing. I mean, thankfully, we did win that game. Otherwise, I think it would have gone a lot bigger. But Inda Club says, yes, I want him to have it. And Don King says, yes, I want to have a job alone alongside Ten Hag. Ketty says that Ollie was better than Rangnick. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much for that. Ralph's better than Poch, though. I tell you what, then, that's where I wanted to start here. And we will do a live poll on this. Who would you choose? Rangnick or Poch? That's in the live chat now as a poll. I've said before I probably still would go with Poch. I think it's just a little bit over dramatic to say I'd rather have Rangnick over Pochettino. I wouldn't take Rangnick, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But you know what his plan is to get this job? At the moment, he ain't getting it. He's not going to get it. And I'll tell you for why he's not going to get it. Because right here, right now, when things can change very very quickly, he 100% wants the job. He said that before. He does want it. It's his dream job. Manchester United manager, to be given a full season as the full-time job would be his dream. You know, he feels that he's done a good job so far. I think he has done. He feels he's been hindered. I think he has been. And he feels if he was given full control and a full next season, he could make the decisions he wanted to make now in the summer and build a very, different Manchester United side from the one that he's having to build at the moment. And people will say, well, look, he didn't get the midfielder he wanted. If he was full-time job in the summer, he would. People will say he's not changed the captaincy. Well, he's not really been able to do that. In the summer, he probably would. People say, well, there's players here that he wanted to let go that he was overruled on. Well, in the summer, he'd be allowed to let them go. So you'd get a different Rangnick next year. And I suppose that's probably why some people would take him over Pochettino. But for all his want for the job, and he definitely wants it, at the moment, even United's board, as incompetent or incompetent as you think it is, they do not want to give Rangnick the job. They want to go down a different route. And a lot of this is to do with the mistake they made with Ollie. They don't trust interim coaches anymore because of the mistake they made with Ollie, even though Rangnick and Ollie are very, very different. What can he do to get that job? What's Rangnick's plan? 4th place won't get him the job. If he gets 4th place, it will not get him the job because he's not going to get 4th place by 7 or 8 points unless Spurs and Arsenal fall away. So, ultimately 4th place is not good enough for this team and it won't be good enough for Rangnick to get the job. If he could somehow get 2nd or 3rd, maybe they'd look at that. It would take a bloody hell of a turnaround to do that and I don't think we're capable of it. I actually think, as amazing as this sounds, the only way that Ralph Rangnick's got a chance of getting this job is if he takes us to the final. And I don't think we have to win it. If he takes us to the final of the Champions League, I think they'd see that as enough progress to give him the job. I'm not so sure that the semi-final would get it, but ultimately it's an interesting thought, and I think it comes down to he'd have to get top 4 anyway. He's got to get 4th place, that's the standard, but 4th place on its own will not be enough to get him the job. Maybe if we'd won the FA Cup he might have got it, but that got destroyed. So for me, he's got to get 4th place and the final of the Champions League to have any chance of getting the job. And I think if he got 4th place and got us to the final of the Champions League, he would get the job. I prefer Ralph to have some continuity. Changing manager every year is not good for us, says Thomas. Well, yes and no, Thomas. I think you make a great point, Thomas. And I'm not being condescending to you, Thomas, by saying Thomas. But Thomas, I really do think you're right. Because continuity is really, really important. But you know what? Where is the continuity? Rangnick's not even been the manager, really. He's been overruled on 3 or 4 big things. So, really, if we did give Rangnick the job, he'd only really be starting in the summer. Yeah, he'd have a bit of background, but he's not had the coaches. I mean, look, when I look at Rangnick, I don't think you can give him the job because he's not got the coaches he wanted. He's not been given the signings he wanted. He's not been able to let players go that he wanted. And he's probably not been able to make the decisions on the team that he wanted either. So I don't feel that we've even seen what Rangnick's all about, which is a bit unfair on him, but I would argue that with anybody. If we've probably only seen about 65% of Rangnick and what he could do, there's 35% of it that's been stopped by the board and, the fact that he's an interim coach. So there would be more to come from Rangnick, and also as well, let's not forget, he's picked a team up in the middle of the season that's a pragmatic, slow, counter-attacking side, and he wants to be a high-line, front-foot, energetic side. You can't turn a side like that. So we'd see a very different Manchester United under Rangnick next season. We'd see a team with a full pre-season. We'd see a manager with full control. So, look, there is a part of me that thinks I feel sorry for him in a way, because whatever he achieves, he'll have achieved it with 2 arms tied behind his back. And at least if he got the job full-time in the summer, he'd have 1 arm tied behind his back, because let's be honest, every manager at United has at least 1 arm tied behind the back. So I definitely don't think you can judge him in that sense. It's a shame Bay's fallen out of favour. His pace alongside Varane would nullify any threats on the break tomorrow, says Saleh. Hey Mark, can you wish my little bro Jared a happy birthday? Me and him have been watching you for years. Thanks for the laughs, says the Mr. Tower Hill. Happy birthday to Jared. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching. And Alistair Robertson says, if Ralph was given full control next season and give him the players and coaches he wants, I would be excited to see what he could do. And Alistair, that's probably something I could get on board with, you know. So the poll was, who would you choose between Rangnick and Poch? And we've had a good few thousand votes, and 78% would rather go with Rangnick over Pochettino. You know what? You're starting to get me on board. I've never really thought of it in that sense. I do think that Pochettino would be the better coach for Manchester United in relation to he'd come in as a new manager and new ideas. But, you know, the problem I have with Rangnick, and I'll lay it out on the card here. Yes, he's not had full control. Yes, with full control, he would make different decisions and be given more control to buy players and sell players. And that would be very interesting to see. But my problem with Rangnick is I feel he's been tainted. And what I mean by that is I said it this morning, he's already been turned into the puppet, because he's already been told, no, you're not having a midfielder. No, you're not selling Lingard. And when the board have already told him no and he's accepted it, they can tell him no again. And that doesn't mean that they can't say no to Pochettino and everything, but at least Pochettino or Ten Hag come in new managers, and they might be able to put a line in the sand and say, well, this is what I want, otherwise I'm not taking the job. With Rangnick, this board already knows they can say no to him. So yes, in the summer it would be slightly different, but they still know they've got him under the thumb. And that to me is why it's a no from me. But it would be interesting if he did get it full time, in the sense that, yeah, I would agree, we've only seen 65% of what he's really capable of because he's been told no on things that he wanted to do. However, the bottom line remains, I don't think United want him to be the manager. I don't think that's part of their plan. So he has to have a plan to get that job that he wants. And I will repeat it again. I don't know what you think, but if Rangnick wants this job, I think he's got to get 4th place, and I think he's got to take us to the final of the Champions League. And people will say, well, no, Mark, I disagree. I think he's got to win the Champions League. Well, no, whoever's saying that, I disagree. I think if he took United to a Champions League final, people would be stunned by that. And whether we won it or not, he'd get huge praise. I mean, we're talking Pochettino. He lives off taking Spurs to the Champions League final. He didn't win it, but he took them there, and everyone gives him a lot of praise for it. And I think if Rangnick could take that shower of shit side that Ollie left us with and took it to a final in 6 months, he probably would deserve the job. And I think he knows that. And I think that's his plan. I think he knows 4th place is not going to be enough to get him the job. He's got to do well in the Champions League, which is exciting. I think Matic should play with Pogba and Bruno against Atletico. The pace of the game will be slower, which will suit him, and he can hold the midfield, says Armin. Well, apparently Thomas Lemar is going to play tomorrow. Now, I want to talk about these polls, but I just want to talk about Atletico Madrid for a moment as well. We played a very difficult game against Leeds on Sunday. It was very high energy, it was very wet, it was very windy, it was a very heavy pitch, and that was played on Sunday afternoon. We're now travelling again to Madrid to play a fresher Atletico Madrid side in a very hostile environment. That's going to take a lot of energy. And then that's Wednesday night, and then Saturday afternoon we're playing Watford in another game that will be very, very difficult. So, you know what? I just want to say, I think we can win all 3. But if we do win all 3, 3 big games in 6 days is a big achievement for these players, and they deserve the week off they've got after that. Did the Bruno the press today say Ronaldo didn't have an influence in the Champions League when they had in 08? When was he our top scorer? I don't know if he meant that, says Arjun. You know what, Arjun? I didn't want to mention that in the press conference reaction, but basically Bruno Fernandes was asked about the impact of Ronaldo and Varane because they've won so many Champions Leagues. And basically Bruno tried to play it down a bit. He wasn't being disrespectful, but what he was saying is that, look, Ronaldo and Varane, there was a time when they'd won no Champions Leagues, and the players that win it for the first time can be as impactful as the experienced players. And he basically went on to say that when Ronaldo won his first Champions League, maybe he wasn't so impactful in that team. Well, his first Champions League was in 08 with United, and basically everything we won that year was massively down to Ronaldo, so he was very impactful. But I don't think Bruno was being disrespectful. He probably doesn't even realise what Ronaldo's first Champions League season was and how he performed. But I think what he was basically saying is, look, we can't be reliant on Ronaldo and Varane. Those players who've not won it before have got to be hungry. So he wasn't being disrespectful. I would go for Poch because he will definitely make use of Ronaldo. Ralph is not actually using Ronaldo completely. I hope the squad at least find his worth, says Slayer Gaming. Well, before we talk about some of these polls, which is going to be very interesting, I do just want to say this happens every year at this time of year. So we get into the knockout stage of the Champions League. And last year, Chelsea played Atletico Madrid. And Atletico Madrid were top of La Liga this time last year. And I said Chelsea will beat them comfortably. And they did. And La Liga fans didn't like it. And again, I've said I think Man United will beat Atletico Madrid because they're 6th in La Liga. Man United are 4th in the Premier League, and the Premier League's stronger than La Liga. And the reality is, the Premier League is stronger than La Liga. I have got no control in that. And these La Liga lovers have got no control in it as well. It's a fact. It's a fact, mate. Like, you know what? All I hear is, wow. Basically, I said on Twitter today, you can tell the Premier League is stronger than the Champions League because for the last 3 Champions League finals, there's been 4 Premier League clubs in those finals. So 4 out of 6 finalists have been from the Premier League and 0 out of La Liga have been in the final in the last 3 years. That shows you that the Premier League is the dominant league at the moment. And then you get La Liga fans saying, wow, Real Madrid have won more Champions Leagues than anybody. Well, Muhammad Ali is probably the best boxer the world's ever lived, but he's not even alive anymore. What does that mean? Like, you know, he's not the best boxer in the world at the moment because he's not alive. He's probably the best boxer of all time, but I'm talking about who's got the best league at the moment, and the Premier League is stronger than La Liga. Now, I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that Real Madrid and Barcelona will bounce back at some point. It could be next year, it could be the year after. They will bounce back because the way they run their football clubs, they're obsessed with winning football trophies. They're not like United. Real Madrid and Barcelona will not fall into oblivion. They will bounce back. But right here, right now, the Premier League shits all over La Liga in relation to which league is the best. And you know, you'll also hear things like, yeah, well, if Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea weren't in the Premier League, then La Liga would be better. Well, you know what? They are in the Premier League, and it is better. And my theory, you'll then get, well, why did Villarreal beat Manchester United in the Europa League? Because the Europa League is a Poundland Champions League, and the teams in it are shit. I put my hands up, we're not that good. But the Premier League is better than La Liga. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. I'm not saying Manchester United are better than every bloody team in La Liga, but I'm saying the Premier League is better than La Liga, and Manchester United should beat Atletico Madrid. But anything is possible. But they just don't understand it. Real Madrid will be back. 100% they'll be back. But right here, right now, the Premier League is stronger than La Liga. Simple as that. And if Atletico Madrid knock Manchester United out, it doesn't mean La Liga's stronger than the Premier League, because Atletico Madrid will then probably play Man City, who will hand them their arse on a plate. So the Premier League is stronger than La Liga. This is not about Manchester United. It's not about whether Villarreal beat Manchester United. It's not about Real Madrid having more Champions League trophies than Manchester United. Manchester United and Real Madrid's relationship is actually very good, by the way. Understand your history. Real Madrid were brilliant in relation to what happened after the 58 tragedy. They offered us players. So, look, I've got no disrespect for Real Madrid. I don't really like their current presidents at the moment. They're a massive club and they will bounce back because they want to be successful on the pitch. But right here, right now, the Premier League is better than La Liga. And I think everybody knows that. I don't really get the problem. Anyway, I just needed to get that off my chest. When do I think it will not be stronger? The actual league, the actual La Liga league will never be stronger than the Premier League again. It won't happen because La Liga doesn't invest in its wider league. Real Madrid and Barcelona might be the best team in the world again. And that's what I would say. I don't think La Liga's ever going to be stronger than the Premier League. How come no one is talking about Ralph's points total? Since he came in, we're only behind Man City's 28 points. Ralph's got us 25, says Travis. Well, I think the reason for that, Travis, is that Ollie would have done the same in his first few games. Ollie got an amazing amount of points as well. So I think the media, United and United fans are very wary of going, oh, give Rangnick the job. Get the numbers on a bit of paper and get it signed. We've done that before, so I think that's a point. And also, I think when you look at the fixtures, out of all the games that he's played, I think he's played 12, hasn't he? The vast majority have been teams in the bottom half of the league. So I think that most people are just saying, let's see what happens in the next 12 games. But he's done a good job. He has done a good job. But I don't think that I don't think anybody seriously wants him to have the job full time. In fact, we'll go on to these polls here now because, right, I've really been looking forward to doing this all day. Now, The Athletic, which is a very good news outlet, apparently said that they'd ran a poll with United fans and they came out with some very weird results. So weird that we were talking about it this morning and we thought, you know what? This is a United stand community. Sorry, this is a Manchester United community. Most of the people watching this show are Manchester United fans. Let's run the same polls that The Athletic have done and compare the two. Because some of the Athletic results were very confusing and they were almost going viral on social media this morning. Almost sending the wrong... It was almost... you know what? I even had people replying saying this is propaganda. You know, saying that 50% of Man United fans want Ronaldo to go and more of them want Maguire to be captain than Ronaldo. It's just not correct. So we thought, you know what? Polls are polls. Opinions are opinions. Let's say that The Athletic have done their polls correctly, but let's say we've done ours correctly and see how they compare. Hi, Mark. First of all, hope you're doing fine after your surgery. Secondly, I was wondering if you could check up on a player named Jesper and give your opinion on him. I'd love to hear it, says Killen. Okay, we'll take a look at him. And I'm getting better, thanks, mate. Right, let's start off with this poll number 1 then. So the first one we did was the first one The Athletic did was more fans want Maguire to be captain than Cristiano Ronaldo. So we ran a poll for that, and 78% of fans wanted Ronaldo to be captain. Maguire was 22%. So that's pretty convincingly the other way, isn't it? That the reality is that The Athletic might have run a poll with some Man United fans, but I don't know what sort of Manchester United fans they were or how many they spoke to, but certainly was very, very different. Sorry, I've actually got that wrong. We ran a poll, who would you rather have as captain, Maguire or Ronaldo? Athletic did it, and more people apparently wanted Maguire to be captain. We've done it. You can check it on the community tab. It's completely open and anybody could have voted. Most of the people who voted would be from the United stand community. 11% wanted Maguire, 89% wanted Ronaldo. So the question there is, who are these United fans on the Athletic poll saying that they'd rather have Maguire than Ronaldo when 89% of people, and we had over 50,000 votes, want Ronaldo to be captain? So that one was quite weird. The second poll they did was who's the most important player for Manchester United, to which they had over 50% saying it was Bruno Fernandes. We ran that poll. We had 50,000 people voting again. Pogba was 4th with 5%. Ronaldo was 3rd with 9%. Bruno was 2nd with not 50%, but 15%. And first was David De Gea with 69%. Again, a massive difference to the one that was going viral this morning on The Athletic. So very interesting there. They also did who should be United's next coach, to which 58% said Ten Hag. So we did it as well. Who should be United's next coach? And we included Poch, Ten Hag, Rangnick, and then you can comment for another. Interestingly, Pochettino, other was 4th with 33%. Pochettino was 3rd with 9%. Rangnick was 2nd with 12%. And Ten Hag didn't have 58%, 76% for Ten Hag. So very, very different results. Almost opposite results on many things. God knows who they polled to say that 50% of the fans want Ronaldo to go, because we ran that one as well, and 78% wanted Ronaldo to stay, not over 50% wanting him to go. God knows who they asked that the preferred Maguire to be captain over Ronaldo, because as we just saw, 89% would rather have Ronaldo captain. And again, who knows who they asked about Bruno being the most popular player, because it was quite clearly David De Gea in that one. So I think that what this comes down to is, somebody said they've polled Man City fans. I think if you want to poll Manchester United fans, you maybe should poll them on this channel or a Man United website, because that's where you're going to get the most clear and true. But it goes back to what I said before. We polled Man United fans and we got these results. It stood out like a sore thumb that they were wrong. And I've got no problem with their poll, and it's all about opinion, and you do get different opinions. But it's very dangerous when them polls get circulated because certain people start to think they're true. What if Man United look at it and go, ooh, yeah, they want us to sell Ronaldo, they want Maguire to be captain, they think Bruno's the favourite player, and they're not that sure on Ten Hag. Wrong answer. They want Ronaldo to be captain, they want Ronaldo to stay, David De Gea's the most important player, and it's a landslide that they want Ten Hag to be manager. And that's the dangerous thing, isn't it? You get these polls going out that you can look at them and you go, that don't look right to me. So well done to everyone who got involved on the community tab today, because it helped us run an experiment about these polls that news outlets run. Who's voting on them? What's the integrity of them? There isn't any. There's not. I'm not saying we've got integrity on ours, but they do fit more with what I would predict. So well done everybody for getting involved in that. You know, at the end of the day, I just don't like things like what Tim Sherwood said the other day about Varane being terrible and he needs dropping. You know, the evidence is out there that he's actually our best centre-back this season in every single area. False information is very dangerous. People go to war off false information. I'm not talking about this one that might happen in Ukraine, but you know, false information in the wrong hands is very, very dangerous. And I think that there's a lot of false information being put out at the moment, and it does need to be called out, because if it's not called out, these things could be picked up. The worrying thing for me is that I don't think Manchester United are very clever. And I think they might read the Athletic and go, oh, this is what our fans think. And that's my point. Some people would say, why did you bother running that experiment? And the point is, I think the Athletic do a great job. I don't like some of their journalists. I think they're right up the arse of the club. But some of them are very, very good. And ultimately, they're a credible news outlet. But that poll just didn't look right to me. The things they did just didn't look right to me. And I think that what I really am passionate about is that, look, I've got my own opinions, and my own opinions aren't always going to be right. But when you're running opinion polls, make sure they're right. And there's absolutely no way some of their answers on that were right or reflective of proper Manchester United fans. And I think what we did is that we ran something that is way more reflective of what United fans think. And I think it's important that that information is put out there. So thanks everybody who did vote. I don't think it's a fabricated poll. I just would question who's behind it. You know, Maguire is a complementary player, not a core player, says Tim. Why is McTominay celebrated for being passionate when Ji-Sung Park was 10 times a player and passionate, says Hugo? You know what? I've seen a lot of people today talking about McTominay and how he reminded them of, I don't want to mention the names, it's really not appropriate, but, you know, legends of Man United's midfield on Sunday. He didn't actually play well on Sunday. The funny thing is, he's had better games than Sunday. I think he probably played better against Southampton than he did against Leeds. But what he did against Leeds is he showed this thing that some modern day fans get really blindfolded by. Passion. He showed some passion. He won a couple of 50-50s where he slid in and won the ball. So people get convinced by that. McTominay's our best option in CDM at the moment. That's the truth. Like, there's no point saying drop the kid or anything. Well, he's not a kid anyway, he's 25. But there's no point talking about that. But I'm not having it until I see it that I don't think he's fit to lace the boots of Darren Fletcher, let alone be mentioned in the same sentences of people like Nicky Butt and Roy Keane and people like that. So, but I can understand why people said were convinced by him on Sunday, because he just showed the passion. And for some people, that's enough. It's not enough for me. And I'll tell you why, and I've said it before. This should come as standard. I'm not impressed by passion in a Man United shirt. Not impressed by that. If we're buying players because they try hard, what the fuck's going on at this football club? I look back at that 94 United side, where you've got Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister, Peter Schmeichel, Dennis Irwin, Eric Cantona, Mark Hughes, Roy Keane, Paul Ince, Nicky Butt was just coming through. I never watched them and went, ooh, there's some passion. There's some passion. Give him a 5-year contract. Give him the captain's armband. Ooh, he's got some passion. It came as standard. You didn't need to notice it. I watched them and went, fucking hell, they're good players. And when they went to Wimbledon, who were the hardest team in the bloody league, who were full of passion, we'd go there and beat them because we'd fight them and then we'd be better footballers than them. You know, if you wanted passion in the early 90s, you watch Wimbledon, who was shit at football, but they kicked you all over the place. Manchester United, I'm not impressed by passion. I want to see passion, but it should come as standard. You know, if you put that shirt on, passion should be there. I want talent as well as passion. Passion is not on a FIFA card. Pace is, passing ability is, shooting is, agility is, passion is not there. So I'm not impressed with passion. It should come as a standard. Where we should be calling passion out is where somebody doesn't bloody give any passion. That's what should get called out. So I applaud McTominay for his passion. I want to see some talent. I applaud Fred for his talent, his passion. I want to see more talent. But I tell you what, I call out certain players who show no talent and no bloody passion. And you know, we can all make our minds up about who that is. But you know, Sir Alex loves McTominay. Problem from the board, says David Page. No, I don't. I think he's got to play at the moment. He's the best CDM we've got, and he's not even a CDM, and that's the problem. We all know we need a Declan Rice or a Tchouaméni or whoever else you want to go for. We 100% need that, but he is the best choice we've got at the moment. Matic is finished. Fred can't do it, and we've got nobody else, and he's not even a holding midfielder himself. So look. We're going to have problems with him when we play better teams. We'll have problems with him when we play half decent teams. But he's all we've got because Man United board didn't buy Rangnick a CDM. And that's the real problem. That's not McTominay's fault. That's not Rangnick's fault. We've got what we've got. We need to get behind Scott and hope he does well. But we can't be blind to the fact that when he, you know, he's probably not good enough for that role. In fact, I don't think he is. So we just got to hope that he can stay fit and do a reasonable enough job over the next few weeks that we can get 4th place and have a bit of an adventure in the Champions League and then rectify it in the summer. Anyway, I'm live on That's Football in 10 minutes for Chelsea against Lille. Botman, David, Angel Gomez is on the bench. It's going to be a very interesting game against Chelsea. Lukaku is on the bench as well. Join me for that. We'll be having a chat in that. We'll be playing either or. Lots of live polls and stuff. I've dropped the link in the video description, so I'll see you there in 10 minutes. Thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. I've really enjoyed the show. We're back tomorrow. I can't wait for tomorrow. Atletico Madrid, Manchester United. I absolutely can't wait. A. Pharaoh says Keane was a passion player. Never, ever, ever come back to this chat again. You absolute prat. You absolute prat. Get out. Close the door. Never come back again. Never come back again. Keane was a passion player. Shove it up your arse, mate. You're not listening to what I've just said. What did I just say? I just said passion came as standard with Manchester United players. Roy Keane's one of the best midfielders we've bloody ever had, you complete and utter prat. Get out! And don't come back with your stupid comments again. You're a bloody disgrace. Get out! Anyway, thanks for watching. Boohoo Man. Link in the video description. 40% off. Plus an additional 10%. You can get some of this. I'll see you on That's Football. Thanks to Boohoo Man. Link in the video description. I'll see you on That's Football in about 10 minutes. Thanks for watching.